Hello, thank you guys so much for clicking this video today. I really appreciate it. This is going to be an awesome podcast. This is the Cardano Aura. I bring people from the Cardano ecosystem that are adding a huge value to the Cardano ecosystem. And you see a lot of, metaverse projects out there and, projects, stating they're going to build, these metaverse. They're doing land sales and, a lot of them are uninteresting to me. And that's why I like Cornucopias so much, is because in my last podcast, you can see that down below, we showed live gameplay and it seemed, it's a real game. It's going to be fun to play. It's not just, a hype like a lot of these metaverse projects are. So in this podcast, we're going to be going into all of the updates really since the last podcast. So if you're interested in Cornucopias, I really do recommend checking out that one down below. And then real quick, we're going to give a brief introduction of who they are, what is Cornucopias, and then we're going to lead into all of the new stuff coming, like the land sale, an upgrade in the engine, and so much more. So thank you guys. If you do enjoy it, if you have any questions, comment down below. How are you guys doing today?
Doing great, man. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, really good.
So can you guys briefly introduce yourself for those that missed the last podcast?
Sure. Yeah, I'm Josh. I'm one of the CEOs of Cornucopias. And my background is basically I've been an entrepreneur for most of my life. So I've built a variety of different businesses and kind of learned the hard way in doing all of those, and been forced to grow in a variety of ways. But yeah, got connected to Cornucopia, to Rob, from an interview that I did for a show called Cardano Chats that I was doing before to support a Stakepool that I was running. And Rob and I hit it off and started talking about this Cornucopias venture. And that was a little bit less than a year ago, which is, I was just talking to Rob about that the other day. We're blown away by what's happened in less than a year. I remember it pretty well. I was on a family vacation in Breckenridge and on the balcony, and I was having a chat with Rob about the game and what we were going to build. And it was pretty cool. That was like last June. So it's almost been a year.
Yeah, I'm Rob Gregg, the other CEO. It's such a big game that we need two of us to divide and conquer. I've been a software developer, entrepreneur all my life. I've built up companies, built up teams, sold companies, worked in all kinds of different software industries. Got involved with Cardano back in 2020 when Project Catalyst started. So I built some open source software for Cardano, and it was through being interviewed for one of my projects where I met Josh, told him that I'd been working on an idea for a game for a good 4 or 5 months, and the rest is history.
Yeah, it was from my perspective, it's really interesting to see that growth, because Josh reached out to me, I want to say over a year ago, and this was before we had Alonzo, and it was before people were really building. And, just this idea of this game, I'm like, no way, in the back of my head. But to see you guys, develop over time, and also to see, how engaged your community was. We talked a little bit about this before, but, your community has been the most engaged community that I've ever made a podcast with. Speaking in the Discord, they were so supportive and they were so nice. Any questions that I've ever had. So you guys have done a great job, really, building a community that people want to be a part of. So, congrats on that. So in the last podcast that we did, we were leading up into the Bubble Jet sale, and now you guys have a unique land sale coming. Can you explain, what the land sale is and really what, this is going to actually be in the video game?
Sure. So this particular land sale, we're going to have two. This one coming up, well, two this year, but this one is going to be a sale of our themed zones. So there's a variety of types of land in our metaverse, in our game, basically. And you could see all those types of land in the Copi wiki. It's we released that about a week ago, which is huge. You could go through over 180 different pages of content on what we're building, which is remarkable. And the basically, we're selling the themed zones. One of the things that really differentiates us from a lot of the other platforms out there is that we've built an entire sector that will be in our land already, and we're showing that here in this video. Some of the video clips from that, you could see this beautiful, beautiful imagery. Our graphics are done in Unreal Engine 5, and I think it's really important to highlight that Unreal Engine 5 released only about 40 days ago, somewhere around there.
Wow.
And we had
I didn't
been,
know that.
thankfully, yeah. And just so you know, that it is the most significant and the largest release of any gaming engine yet. And it's the largest release of Unreal Engine as well. And so it's leaps and bounds what you could do with it ahead. Now there's still issues and things that they're working through because it's very early, but we had been preparing. Our team had been really hoping for and getting practice in Unreal Engine 5 ahead of their release. And so we were ready for it. And the beauty of this is it's a very solid strategic advantage for us, a competitive advantage for us, because a lot of people might have been 80% through their game or whatever on Unreal Engine 4, and they can't change their existing workflows. It's too difficult to change all of that. And so we were able to, just thanks to the timing of it, we're able to convert up to Unreal Engine 5. So this video that we're showing is a great example of the power of this new release. It's enormous for us. So, this is competitive with traditional gaming. A lot of times you see a variety of different quality of content on the blockchain gaming side. We've been building in an effort to target both communities, both traditional gaming and blockchain gaming. And so the quality is there for AAA graphics, etc.
Yeah,
Rob,
Unreal, I've been a gamer really my whole life, and Unreal Engine's always really impressed me, especially when 4 came out. And, you mentioned that you guys were practicing and building on Unreal Engine 5, and, I can confirm that because you even mentioned it in our last podcast as, you talked about how excited you guys were for Unreal Engine 5, and I didn't realize it released just 40 days ago. It's awesome that you guys had that, proper preparation, because these engines are around for a long time. So kind of setting the foundations on a new gaming engine as you guys build towards the future, I think is great. Rob?
There's about a 10-year cycle on the Unreal engines at the moment. So it's been released in alpha and beta for about 2 years. So our art team have actually been developing and practicing on them. So as we built all our Unreal Engine 4 assets, they were always built to be compatible and upscalable to Unreal Engine 5. So that's how we were it was quite easy for us to upscale and upgrade to UE5 pretty quickly.
Awesome.
The first versions they do have their issues. So there's still a lot broken at the moment with UE5, and they will put fixes and release additional tools as the months goes on. But when we're ready to launch around about Christmas time, then all the bits and pieces that are missing, we'll be ready to plug all them in as well. So it's really
thankfully the broken stuff, just so you know, is there are issues that make it challenging for our game devs, but they find a creative workaround and they make it work. And then we also know that there's a huge amount of people that are giving feedback to Unreal Engine, and they're making the fixes as well. So it's kind of a bridge solution. And thankfully, we've been able to navigate around those issues quite well. And it's positioning us. I mean, you see the graphics. It's remarkable. So.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of the Cardano blockchain. On Ethereum, there's some issues there, but there's existing tooling that everybody can use. Whereas, Cardano comes out and it's this new piece of software that's going to be much better, but it doesn't have all of that tooling and it has some bugs, and you have to, do some workarounds and wait for some more hard forks. So, I can see exactly where you guys are coming from. So speaking more on this land sale, let's say a user, they're interested in cornucopias. They've never, really heard of it before, but they want to participate in this land sale. And they get, one of the NFTs. And the game comes out in December, as you mentioned. What can they actually do with the land that they purchased through this land sale in the video game?
So we'll be releasing some tools to begin with. But we're also developing using Agile. So we'll release a number of features as we go along. So to begin with, you'll be able to go on the land. You'll be able to do a bit of farming on there, put your house on there, build up a couple of items. We'll have tasks, and we'll have lots of different bits of functionality in early release. So it's an MVP that we're releasing at Christmas. It won't be the full play to earn game yet. It will be releasing it on the testnet of Cardano, which is one of the amazing features of Cardano, is that you have this full blown. It's almost like a side chain, I suppose you would call it, but you've got all the power of Cardano. We can test the in-game economics. We can test that our system works fine, and that MVP will then get full testing from the community. And then over the next couple of months, we can bug fix and we can add more and more features as they become available to us. And then eventually we'll be able to release the whole game, play to earn, and everything in its full release on mainnet. But we'll have this absolutely beautiful, amazing roadmap on Cardano that we can go via testnet, via Agile with our features.
The utility to expound on your question with the utility of the land, you'll be able to have like a blacksmith shop, for example. That's in the plans, and you would work the land in a variety of ways. And there's multiple angles that you could take according to what's happening in the ecosystem and how the rewards are distributed. It's really going to be very interesting to see how it's somewhat of a free market economy kind of develops. So you could choose to have a blacksmith on your land, or you could choose to have a farm on your land, or if your land is large enough, you could choose to have both. So there's going to be a variety of different buildings or business types, so to speak, that you could start on your land. And it's going to be interesting. So we're going to have ways for people to go and bring in raw materials. So if you're a blacksmith, you're going to have to go and gather some metal that you can start to come and work within your shop. So it's going from raw material all the way through to becoming a usable tool or a usable material for someone else for building a house or whatever it may be. So there's some very interesting things that we're working on in that.
Yeah, and the first three zones that we've announced, that those will all be part of the MVP. So there'll be a Wild West zone, there'll be like an Eastern zone, and there'll also be kind of like a farming zone. So these are just kind of in-house names. We'll have real names for these different sectors and different zones.
Awesome. This really raises a lot of questions for me. Is there going to be a geographical significance to some of this land? Traditionally in video games, there's like a spawn point, where people are going to start out at. For Cornucopias, that's going to be the individual free bubbles, which we're going to get into in a little bit. But this land, is there going to be land that people have to pass through, or it's more likely that this land is going to be, not more valuable, but there's going to be more users on that land to maybe increase the utility of your blacksmith shop or your farming land. So when people are getting these NFTs, how do they really tie in that geographical significance there?
Yeah, I don't think one area will be more popular than the other. I mean, it could be potentially, but each of the zones are separated into multiple sectors. So the sectors are these huge giant domes. So there's multiple of these, and you get to them, like I say, via either public transport or via Javelin or via bubble jet. And depending on which zone it's in, then yes, the type of land and resources on there are different. So the Wild West area is more rocky, and there's a lot of mining that goes on there, and it looks completely different to the farm zone, which is the farm zone will have waterfalls and it'll have lush grass and forests. So yeah, depending on the different sectors, they're completely different resources. They'll share some resources, but some of the sectors where people will be owning land will be really, they'll have a lot more of one type of resource, where another sector will then have more rare resources. So there'll be lots of cross-pollination of these different resources that are rarer in one zone and more abundant in another, and back and forward. So it's going to be really interesting to watch how the trade between the different sectors and the different zones actually works out.
Yeah. So can anybody come to the land, or is it really like an invite only thing, or is this
Yeah,
an
The theme
option that you're
zones
going to
are
set?
open. The
Completely open. Okay.
everything's free, but there is a difference. The entire game is free to play, so everybody gets a free bubble, and they're all free to go to the different merchant shops and trade and buy and sell and do whatever they want. But because the game is play to earn, there is different levels of play to earn. So if you own land, then that unlocks additional play to earn, and that you can earn. But as well as building houses and farms on your land, you can then upgrade your houses and you can then rent out those properties. And in renting out those properties, whoever rents one of those properties then gets access to that additional play to earn. So that's how the supply and demand of land and properties and the whole ecosystem will start to evolve.
Okay, so because there's resources that you can mine in some of the areas, can you essentially charge users to come in and mine those resources because it is open?
We don't need to we don't need to you mean it if right, okay. So the various resources are not owned by players. Those are owned by the game. So you can come in, but there will there's a lot of details, I suppose, in that area that we need to just iron out.
Of
There
course.
would
Basically, a user would be able to go to a mine, for example, and perform certain actions to
yeah,
gather resources. They would then carry that back to their land to process it, utilizing whatever it may be that they have. If it's a blacksmith shop, then they begin to process that material, which they can then resell.
yeah, but
And
there might be limitations. You see, this is how we control the play to earn. If you're in a district, that district will allow its community members to mine more ore than external people, for example. That one of the mechanisms that we're exploring.
yeah, and thinking about, as incentives to actually come to this land, I think, having land with unique resources that not a lot of land has will
Yeah,
actually cause more people to, say, rent the house on that land, or, maybe use the blacksmith or any of the other buildings there. Um, Thank you for that. So, also, scarcity in these games is very important, and also, in NFTs. How much land are you guys actually going to do in the first sale and in the second sale? And will there be any more land sales, after that?
This year there won't be, so there's going to be only 2 land sales this year. One is going to be for the theme zones, and that's coming up very soon, and that'll include 3 zones, and then which are the 3 zones that Rob had kind of alluded to before, and then the other sale that'll occur this year will be the custom domes, which has a whole different use case, and that's more metaverse based, and it's more for the creative, the entrepreneur, the person that really wants to build something on their own. That's kind of what the custom domes are about. So yeah, that's how
Awesome.
it'll work.
So, moving forward, because there may be another land sale after these two, will another land sale ever make the original one obsolete, in terms of resources? With a lot of games, what
yeah,
they'll do is they'll do, a land sale or an update that releases a lot of new content, but then eventually that gets stale. The resources aren't necessary anymore. People have too many of them. So will the land sale, the first one and the second one, will those ever be obsolete in terms of resources and in terms of utility because of future land sales that come?
No, no. So this is going to be, and we're going to be very transparent with the land schedule on how land is released over time, and that'll be included in a deck that we're releasing very soon, along with this video, so people will have access to that. But the idea is that we don't add new land until there's sufficient, a large amount of demand for that. And so we'll have a land appreciation schedule, but the reality is that original land is just going to get better and better over time. Same with any new zone. It's just the time as our game. We're going to continue developing and building and improving each zone as we go.
Okay. And is there like a limit on the supply for both of the land
yeah.
sales?
So in total, there will be 12 theme zones, and we're only releasing 3 to begin with. and then we'll have a themed city. So those make up what you would call as the fixed supply of land. And so that's the first sale. This we have a definite number that we will release, like Josh says, in that land deck, and it'll explain exactly how our land is divided and how it will be rolled out. And then alongside that, we have custom domes, and the custom domes doesn't have a fixed supply, and this will be where we will provide templates, and people will be able to put different utility on them depending what they want to do. So it's more of a custom area. So for example, you'll be able to put nightclubs on there, and you'll have multiple players that will be able to come into your nightclub, and you'll be able to promote it as and you will be able to charge people to come onto your land, or if you wanted to, you could do merchandise on there for YouTubers. You will have an area where you could do your live streaming, and your audience can come with you and interact with you in a completely different way than ever before. We will have festivals that can go on these lands. We will have art galleries. We will have games, so player versus player games that the actual owner will be able to build their land up and using our templates and our different land environments and the assets. And then we'll have educational centers, business meetings. So there's lots and lots of utility that can happen in the custom domes. That's more of like a commercial offering, entrepreneurial offering. Whereas
when he says there's not a limited supply, it will be a very limited release. So we're not flooding, the gates there. It's going to be a limited release over time with the custom dome. So that is important to note. We have to allow for B2B applications in a variety of ways, and for that to continue to grow. But at the same time, that will be limited in how we release it.
Okay. What is the cost of the the land sale and the custom domes going to be?
We haven't published our pricing yet, but we are thinking in the area of 200 to 5,000 in terms of like USD. But we don't hold us to that, because we're still navigating through some of the pricing on that.
Okay. Where does that cost come from? Is that, what you guys need to actually build out the game, or are you looking at, traditional NFTs maybe done on ETH? I'm just curious on that.
Yeah. So, the cost is there's a significant amount of work that goes into everything that we're doing. And I think a lot of people out there, even probably 80% of these other gaming projects that have announced they're building a metaverse and a game, and there's a lot of marketing hype and all of that good stuff, and good luck to them, and we wish the best for everybody, but there's a lot of people out there that don't know, even ourselves in the beginning, you don't really know exactly what all it's going to take to accomplish a given vision or mission, right? And there's a lot that goes into building a game. We currently have a team of 25, which has grown significantly since the last time we spoke with you. It might even be slightly larger than that. And we have a need to add another 10 to 12 over the next year, somewhere in that area. And so that's a good amount of cost. So yes, to answer your question, the pricing is very much around what we need to raise to make it through this next 2-year period, something like that, so that we can really build the team that we need and add the value to this game that is there for the users to really enjoy and love and play and grow this community. So there's so much that we have to execute on, and so many promises to the community. And that's one thing you mentioned before is community. We have a solid community. We really value that. We value our community so much. And, I mentioned this a little bit before on the call with you, but we gave away around 1 million worth of GTI NFTs, because that's how much we care about our community. We want to cultivate a trusting, inspired, creative community that's engaged, and we've done a great job of that. So one thing we have to do now is come through on our promises and really build out this amazing game that that we've promised the community. So that's the deal. So yeah, this is very much around how do we get the revenue needed to really build out the team and execute.
Well, it took us 13 months before we sold our first NFTs. We've published our 7-year roadmap. A traditional game would go through VC funding. It would take them up to 10 years to build the game, and the first you would know is kind of like a few months before. We're building everything completely transparent. We need to raise over the I suppose the life of the project, somewhere around about $50 million to fulfill everything that we want to do. But we can work within our budget, and the unique side of working on the blockchain and working up front is that we can engage the community. The community can look at what we're building. We can raise funds via NFTs, and as long as people are engaged with our community and continue to help support us with building NFTs, then we can push the roadmap and build on top of the team. If the support dies down a bit, then we can just re-look at the number of sectors and the number of features that we're building, communicate with the public, take votes with using our coin as as a governance token, and we can build we can scale the project in a different way. I think it's a unique way of building games that more and more we're seeing is going down this route now. And I think the shift of gaming to come through this route is the opportunities there is everything is just everything's changing. I think it kind of starts here.
Yeah. So did you guys actually have VC funding early on with the Copi token?
We did. We did a private round that offered the same pricing to the public as well. That got us kickstarted, but it was a really small amount, relatively speaking, to what we're needing. So the primary model for us, financially speaking, has been generating revenue.
Yeah, and I do know video games are expensive. I've played video games that they probably spent $500 million on that were broken at the start. So I do understand the necessity of having funds. So before our last podcast, we were leading up to the Bubble Jet sale, and then following that was the Javelin sale, which you guys mentioned. They went out for free. So what are the Bubble Jets? What utility will they have in the game? Can you just also explain the sale as well?
Sure. Bubble Jets are the vehicle that are manufactured by a Bubble Jet Enterprises. Is that the name of the manufacturer? Yeah, so the Bubble Jet Sprinter is our very first NFT release. It's pretty awesome, and you have one. So they're going to be utilized to fly from your home bubble to the themed zones. And once you get to the themed zones, you exit your vehicle and go explore and execute your daily tasks and do the things that you need to do within those zones to build out your game and play. But it'll be used for travel within the ecosystem. You could fly over to the cloud gates and choose where you're going to go and off to the races kind of thing. But I'm sorry. Also for racing. There you go. Yeah, almost missed the racing. Yeah, we've already built the race functionality. So the GTI, which was our second NFT sale,
are those the Javelins?
The Javelin. Yeah, Javelin okay. GTI. Both of those will be utilized for racing as well. And we have some really fun stuff happening within our racing technology that's going to be very cool. You might have seen some of the racing videos that we've released, but if not, definitely check them out. We'll send them your way.
Okay, so to incentivize a player base, you guys are doing that free bubble, that everybody gets, and you can get a bubble jet that you can actually host. And in the last video, we can put it on screen now too. There's a bubble jet really in the bottom that you can use to fly out of there. For users that say don't have the funds for a bubble jet or a Javelin, you mentioned that there's public transportation there to these other zones.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, you can see the public transportation within our video, and we've released images of these as well, and those are incredible, huge ships that will take you the same journey. You don't have as much freedom as your own transport, but they do just as good a job. You just might have to wait a little bit longer before you get the little bus stop.
Okay, awesome. So in the last podcast, not a lot of criticism, but there was a little, small amount of criticism from some of the audience about the Copi token being on the Binance Smart Chain. I kind of pushed that to the side because I mentioned that, that's where the existing tooling was at the time when you guys launched your token. But since then, you've actually migrated that token to Cardano. So congrats on that. Can you tell us, more about the Copi token and the utility that it's actually going to have in the Cornucopias ecosystem?
Yeah, well, first of all, it was definitely awesome to be able to get on Cardano as a Cardano native token. So now we're on BSC and also Cardano. But now there's a bridge needed. So I would expect there's going to be some naysaying and criticisms because we really do need a bridge for the interflow of those. And we are working on that. We have a partner that's working on that, chainport.io, are working on that for a variety of Cardano projects as well, because they see the power of Cardano. So yes, that will be coming, and we definitely hear the users, and we were hoping to launch much sooner than that. But yes, it's great to be on Cardano, and the utility of the token, and one of the reasons we chose Cardano in the first place is because the tokens on the tokens are native, so they're going to get the same privileges as the Cardano, as ADA gets on the platform, which means eventually there's going to be governance features that we can take advantage of within the platform itself as a service provider, right? So that's huge for us because our mission is to, over time, gradually decentralize, and the token Copi token will be used for governance within the game. So you, as a token holder, you'll be able to vote on certain developments within the game. You'll be able to vote on rewards structures and fee structures within the game as well. So it's pretty exciting.
And like Josh said, that bridge that we're building is brand new infrastructure for Cardano. So it will be available for all projects on Cardano, not just our native token. Any other native token that's on BSC or on Ethereum will be able to use that to come over to Cardano, and vice versa.
And that's important to note. Yeah, great point, Rob, because we helped pioneer adding this value for a lot of other Cardano projects with Chainport. Now they're the ones building it, right? But as a result of our working with Chainport, we've really told them, hey guys, you've got to be on Cardano. This ecosystem is about to explode, and it makes sense for you to add this value.
And having that, I think, interoperability across chains. Although at the moment, I think there's a lot of insular. This is my favorite blockchain. This is in the future for all the blockchains to work and games to be interoperable. You need all these kind of bridges.
Yeah, I agree with that completely. And, we're starting to see some of that with Milko Meta and, having tokens from Algorand and, also ERC20 tokens. It is awesome to hear that you guys are working on a Binance bridge for the Copi token. And sometimes that's really all a project needs to hear is, there's a lot of stuff happening on Cardano and it's a pretty easy sell. Sometimes you just have to tell people about it and they're like, wait, you're right. This is the up and coming chain there. So you guys had another sale, and this was the NFT2Tree Sale, and you guys actually worked with Veritree on that. And Veritree is actually a Cardano, I would say, NFT project / charitable project that is trying to use ADA to plant real trees in the world. Can you tell us a little bit more about that sale?
Yeah, so that was designed very much around two key principles. Number one, we don't want to be a project that's just about ourselves. So we want to add value to the world in a variety of ways. And one way with this particular project is getting more trees planted, right? There's another project that we have, which with our Stakepool Grow Your Stake, where we're going to be providing clean water for communities in Africa through drop for drop charity. So there's just a variety of ways that we want to give back and bridge the digital with the physical. So that's goal number one with that project. But goal number two with NFT2Tree was that we have to stress test our new technology, which is something we're incredibly proud of. Our NFT technology, we've been working on it for months, and we now have a platform in a marketplace where you can mint your NFT. We can mint our NFTs and go through a roll by roll sale according to Discord. So we can do whitelisting and go through rolls in the way that we need to do that. And we just stress tested our system on Friday. There was an overwhelming amount of demand for these NFTs. So it's a good indication that our community is pretty awesome, and they want to give back as well, because we charged 15 ADA, and they now know that those 15 ADA will be used to plant trees at the price of 50 cents. So when you convert that out, we don't know exactly how much, because the ADA, we need to sell that and basically give it to Veritree. But you're planting around 15 trees, somewhere around there, with each NFT. So we'll be able to plant over 38,000 NFTs from just the initial sale there, and then ongoing royalties are 100% going to be given to the secondary market. Royalties are 100% given to Veritree as well. And so it was amazing. Our sale sold out in 20 seconds.
That's awesome.
The tech worked.
That's pretty quick.
Amazingly. And we're doing another test this week.
And then there'll be extra utility for those trees. So it's not just a tree for Veritree. It's also an in-game tree that we will announce what those do in the future. And yeah, like Josh was saying, all the proceeds from the secondary market goes directly to Veritree, and one of our mythic trees sold for 5,000 ADA. So that in itself planted hundreds of trees.
That's cool. It's cool, like having an in-game tree that is representative of real trees in the world.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I definitely like that. So to go back to the Copi token a little bit, I'm sorry for jumping around.
No worries.
When it actually comes to that free bubble that you get, can you use the Copi token, say, to purchase items for your bubble, or to say build the house, or is the Copi token really focusing on governance there?
Yeah, absolutely. I didn't know if Rob wanted to handle that one or not, but yeah, you will be able to buy in-game assets to utilize and build up your land. Definitely.
And we'll have an in-game currency, and that in-game currency, then you'll be able to trade out Copi, and you'll be able to Copi back in to the in-game currency.
Okay. Earlier we mentioned the testnet and mainnet. Do we have a date for the testnet and the mainnet? A general kind of Q4?
So we're releasing two offerings this year. I say offerings. One of them is a mobile game, and one of them is the Unreal Engine 5 game. So they both will start on testnet, and the mobile game will be available on testnet probably Q3 of this year. And then the PC game will be on testnet possibly by the end of the year at launch or early next year. But we'll definitely be launching the mobile game on testnet this year.
Okay.
Which is very it's important to differentiate the mobile game. It's a totally different concept. Same branding, same project overall. But this is our approach to we've talked about it all along. We're going to have mini games throughout our world that you can go and you can play these mini games as a play to earn kind of deal. And so this is our first mini game. So it's a means of us kind of doing a tribute to a very popular game genre. Which is going to be really cool. But then, it's also a means for us to test out our play to earn functionality and making sure all of this is secure and ready to go. And so what Rob said about testnet, it's a huge value add Cardano has, is we get to play around in that sandbox, make sure everything's working right. And the thing about the minigame is I played it last night. I was playing it last night while I was going, in bed about to go to sleep, just testing it out. And it's a lot of fun. It's going to be fun. But it's different. It's not the same thing as the main release.
It's not the same, but it is set in the same metaverse. And all the details are in the Copi wiki that we released. But if you don't need an NFT to play the game, but if you have a bubble jet or a javelin, you will see these in that game as well.
This is true.
So if, people want to join the Cornucopias community and, they want to really be a part and be engaged, how would they do so?
The best way is go to cornucopias.io or go to our Twitter, Cornucopias Game, and there's a link tree in Cornucopias Game profile as well. So either the website or the Twitter, which is Cornucopias Game, and we have a link tree link there. So yeah, only go through our official channels. We always emphasize to people to be very careful to only listen to official channels because there's a lot of copycats and a lot of scammers out there. So just be careful.
Yep, you always got to be very careful with that. There's always someone trying to take your money these days, and you know, it's great, having access to all of your funds in crypto. However, those that can be scammed, it's not the best thing ever. So make sure you guys are careful with any links or anybody you're talking to. And it's always good to use public forums when you're asking questions, because there's a lot of other people viewing that to ensure someone's not giving you a bad piece of information.
And I would add that our Discord is the primary public forum where you can engage with so many people. It's really a phenomenal community. And we've worked really hard to cultivate a very positive community there, keep it bot free as much as possible. And really we have some amazing mods. We have the old guard there, which are some of our older community members. We've got multiple tiers in there, a lot of different channels you could explore. And it's a lot of fun. It's a fun community. We've heard tons of compliments about, how much fun and how positive it is in our Discord. So it's great.
And they're really self-organizing as well. There's a couple of guilds that have started off. Both of those have got over 300 members in there. That some of the members within the Discord have their own art competitions, and they run these weekly. It's absolutely amazing the ecosystem that's building on top of our ecosystem.
Well, I really enjoyed this podcast today. It's always great to hear an update about, really the game that I'm most excited for to come to Cardano. Is there anything that we didn't cover, in this podcast today that you think is, important information to get out there?
Well, land sale coming up, but we covered that a little bit, and that is definitely nearing. So definitely watch the link. We'll provide you with the link, Pei, and this video is going to give you a nice tour of our sector, the first beautiful sector of land that we've created. And Rob mentioned it, these sectors are really big. Our lead dev basically told us that it takes around 40 minutes to walk across the entire thing. And we're going to be given a tour of that in this video. So please be sure to check that out. I know you've shown a few clips here as well, but yeah, that's one of the main things.
Yeah, I mean, the sectors themselves are 8 kilometers by 8 kilometers, and there's multiple per zone. I think the other thing that we could mention is we're coming to Consensus in a few weeks. So Josh and myself, we're both going to be there. And we're also both going to be at Rare Bloom in October.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward. I'm actually going to be at Consensus as well, so we'll have to grab some lunch. And I'm also looking forward to the Rare Bloom in October and seeing you guys there. Yeah,
that's great. I'm glad to hear you'll be at Consensus. That'll be fun.
Yep, I actually got my flights yesterday. I'm pretty excited for it. This is I've never really seen more Cardano people coming to a meetup, other than Consensus, and I think the only thing that will really top that's the Rare Bloom there.
We're gonna do our best to have some T-shirts for you, Pei.
I hope so. I'll definitely be rocking those in videos. But for anybody tuning in, I appreciate it. If you made it till the end of the video, make sure you comment Cornucopias down below to let us know you made it till the end. We appreciate you. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them down below. If you enjoyed it, make sure you click that like button and subscribe, notification bell for more content. And I hope you guys all have a good rest of your week.
Thanks for having us. Bye-bye.